Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Keep the Line Moving, the podcast designed to talk about leadership, life, and inspiration. I'm your host, Chris Gargano, and for episode 90, we're talking about the concept of attention to detail in two ways as part of this conversation. Number one, on the athletic field, soccer, to be specific. How precise are your drills? Are they game-like action? And if so, will this translate into success on the field? We will discuss. Also, attention to detail with regard to how you are as a teammate. Do you listen? Are you a collaborator? Are you positive? Are you picking your teammates up, right, when they are down? All of this is part of this fascinating conversation with our guest, Ajani Clunie, who is the head women's soccer coach and manager of athletic communications at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, the City University of New York. We met at the CSE conference back in June. We sat next to one another, and I said, this guy has to be on the podcast. You will soon see why. In 2019, he was the associate head coach, and the Bloodhounds won their first ever conference title in school history. In 2020, he was named the head coach. They didn't have a season because of COVID, but then they won the conference title in 21 and 22. 23, they fell just short. So technically, they're gearing up to try to win 3 out of 4. The season starts shortly, but this podcast conversation starts now on Keep the Line Moving. All right, Ajani, here we go. We are on the cusp of another soccer season. So what do you say to your players this time of year as you're about to start the season? Okay, I'm going to address them for the first time because, as you know, you get new participants, new people coming in. You might even hire an assistant coach and all. What do you say to start the season, and how much do you prep for that conversation?
I don't really like to pre-plan as much. I feel like whatever comes to your heart and mind at the time and what you sense the energy from your players, I think is good enough. But as long as it has a real good, solid core of a message. But I think really with my players, I just want them to give their full energy, mindset, and respect to what they're doing and giving their time into it. The same way I ask them, give us 4 months of your time and of your effort, because we're doing the same as coaches. You know, we're locked in during that time. We're here just as early as they are and prepping for them. But the only aspect is we're not physically running on to the field in that game time, you know, when it's time to complete the matches.
So it's 4 months. It's kind of, you look at it and it's 4 months. Do you see it as a sprint? Your sense of urgency is what? Or are you more of a patient coach? Let's do everything right so when we execute on the field, we have the best chance to win.
I would think like I'm a hybrid. A lot of people say my personalities are like chill and calm at times, and they're like, oh, like you must be like this all the time. But when I get on the sidelines, I'm a little bit more amped up, a lot more energy, moving along, trying to give my players that energy back in return, the same way they're giving us that energy out there competing. So I'd say I'm a mixture of a hybrid, but always tell them you have to pay attention to the details of the little things, observing. So like, for example, knowing your teammates, their jersey numbers, like what your teammates' jersey numbers are, or attention detail to your opponent, you know, like whether they predominant foot is their left or their right, which way to turn them. So if you can fine-tune those details in your opponent, I think you can master overcoming them and coming out on top.
So attention to detail. Exactly. That makes a lot of sense. And I have so many quotes and styles here that you've shared over the years, in your social media and visited before. And by the way, let's back up. We met in Las Vegas at the CSE Awards dinner. That was a wonderful evening. And I was impressed. Hence, you're on the podcast. I really like to highlight people that I really respect and make an impact. And sometimes it's it's a dinner or, a chance meeting or whatever. You're in the same situation. So I said to you, you got to come on here. And you agreed. And I'm so thankful. In between you and I meeting in June, and we're now in August, as you said, you did something extremely exciting. Can you share with us, please, what that was?
So I had the opportunity to go to Germany for about 2.5 weeks. And of course, some prep work beforehand. So I was in Bad Blankenburg. So there's a company called Ruby Sports, and and they work with the Turinga Football Federation, which is encompassed a smaller federation of the DFB, which is the German federation. So I had the opportunity to do my UEFA B license course over there. So which is UEFA, of course, is the governing body of the European Union, the Football Federation over there. And luckily enough, they had the 2024 Euro football competition going on. So it was a great time to go to Germany. I'm glad I had the opportunity to be there and study along with 33 other coaches from all over the world.
So what you shared with me was it
Mhm.
was intense. You learned a lot about how everyone differently approaches the game, football, soccer. So when you look back, let's share with the folks listening your
Mhm.
takeaways. Like what was just eye-opening and you're going to bring back, perhaps incorporate into your style because you're you and you have to do it your way. But what really struck you, Ajani? What was it in your heart and soul that you brought back?
I think the first thing we realized, all the coaches, when we got to Germany, was that if you don't know, you have to ask, like don't really assume. Um, Attention to detail, being on time is I think a key thing. I think for a lot of people all over the world, but especially in Germany, is like very punctual. They're very straightforward. Will give you things straight and narrow. Won't really sugarcoat things. If you work hard, then you can play hard just as much as well. So those are some of the things I took away. But I think in the style of methodical thinking of don't overcomplicate things. Pay attention to details and really don't overcomplicate things and stay focused on the task of what you're teaching or what you're instructing, whether in that session plan, whether it's a game or exercise form. But really thinking about all the different concepts of what you have to do, but staying focused on that task in that moment.
So how does that translate to better soccer? So you're right. The people that are in the sport, right, that coach and at the level that you are on the college level, professionals, they're going to get it. And a lot of youth, the way the sport is exploding internationally is amazing. So most people will get it, but for those, as you said, that maybe don't get it, why is attention to details from an offensive perspective, defense, positioning? Explain that though. That's very interesting if you don't mind.
I think for a lot of times, people plan things, but you want to make it as realistic as possible. So, for example, if you have a game or a session, or you're doing a practice session, and you have the defense starting from the goalposts, realistically in the game, defenders won't be starting like inside the 18-yard box or from a goalpost. They'll really be in the defensive third of the field. You know what I mean? So those little details I think are important. Of some things that I learned as far as like make it as realistic as possible. Do the things as you would in the game. Don't just create something because it might be easy or simplified, but make it as realistic as possible as you would see it in the game in that setting.
That makes sense, right? That makes total sense. Like if it were football or baseball, don't, hit to the right side, hit to the right side in baseball, right? No. You have to react where the pitch goes sometimes, and that's a realistic game situation. So in batting practice, don't just throw fastballs. That's not realistic. You're going to have off-speed pitches, curves, whatever. I always default to baseball because I have a long
That's
history there. Anyway,
that's your background. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Okay. So you're about to start your season and you coach the women's team at John Jay College of Criminal Justice.
Yes, sir.
You've been doing this a while now. You've had success. I've even watched mic'd up videos of you that
Oh,
have
you
are
saw
that, yeah,
that?
those are great. You have great energy. The players respond really well to you. What do you want to get accomplished this year? What is first and foremost on your mind?
I think it's just an experience for the ladies within my team. I just want them to enjoy their time, enjoy their love of the game. Of course, it's hectic. We're playing 2 games out the week. So it's enjoying that experience, enjoying the moment, which I've said before. You have to appreciate the moment that you're in with people because the time passes. I just recently lost my grandmother. So it's just about appreciating those times and those memories that you have with people. So I think for my players, circling back is appreciating the moment that you're in, we definitely want to get back to the pinnacle of where we are as a program, winning our fourth conference championship. And I do believe I'm a big believer, a firm believer of admitting those things into the universe of what you want to achieve and succeed in. You have to verbally say it. Words, sound, and power. The tongue is a very powerful thing. I don't think I would be in the position I am if I didn't have those positive affirmations and say and put those things out there as, hey, I'm going to be successful. I know who I am. I know my worth and my value. So I think we want to get back to the pinnacle of being successful in what we built at John Jay since I started there in 2014. And also for the ladies to foster new relationships, and then also do well academically, because at the end of the day, they are student athletes. And I think they take pride, and we have a plethora of student athletes who some have 4.0s every semester, which it fathoms me sometimes. Like they get perfect straight A's and being athletes and playing at a high level, and competing on the field. So those four things is what I want and wish and for my team this year, and for everyone just to be healthy and enjoy the experience, but ultimately getting back to the top of the pinnacle when the season's over.
So I love this. And I love how clearly you just articulated that. Let's dissect this.
Okay.
And I think this is why you and I, in my opinion, get along so well and identify with one another, because I share what you're saying here. And I think a lot of our listeners, this resonates with them as well. Think about you playing youth soccer, right? Think about you coaching a certain player, or myself. You think back to Little League or Pop Warner, right? You think about the people. You think about what you said, the impact the coach made by way of life lessons, by way of habits, by way, sure, we won on the field, we lost on the field, we were somewhere in between. I made an error to let a run score, whatever. Those things are memories. Those are individual memories. But what was the feeling you had from that team coach and those teammates? That is so valuable. Do your players respond to that? My assumption would be yes, but I'll put it as an open-ended question for you.
I feel like players resonate to that, and I think it's everybody's different. You can't expect everyone to have the same mentality and mindset as you, but I think diversity is a great aspect what my team has, and that we all I preach respecting each other. I call it this piece of the puzzle. Everyone plays their part, meaning no one is successful without each other. It's sort of like a give and a take, you know what I mean? We all put in the work, but everyone has a role to play within this life, within the universe, that our team will not be successful without, 11 players on the field, coaches, from the trainers to the game day staff, everyone that helps, whether it's someone doing the maintenance on the van that we need to travel, you know what I mean? Security, letting the kids into the building, into the morning, into facility. Everyone plays a part. The relationships that you build with these players now, or what you're doing, it's even bigger than the game, trying to teach those life lessons, as you said. And I've had players, go on to play D1 at St. John's, Wake Forest, even not go on to play even at a high level, but some go on to be successful. I had a player, she's graced the covers of Vogue and worked for a lot of great fashion houses, and you may not know the work that you're putting in until it's affirmed later on, maybe years later on, to where they say like, hey, those lessons that you were trying to teach me, it was just enjoy the game. Like if someone is angry, or like do your talking with the feet. If you put the ball in the back of the net, no one can ever take that away from you, no matter what type of adversity you face from fans or other players. You go in different environments. I've received some of that confirmation, like, hey, those lessons that you were trying to instill with us might be small in the moment, them as 13, 14-year-olds, teenagers, and then later on they're telling me, hey, I understand what you meant, and they really appreciate it. That sort of solidifies me. I know what my purpose is, in this lifetime, you know what I mean? Is to help the youth and those be better than me. And I always tell them that they'll be more successful than me in my lifetime, because if you can ensure and instill maybe some knowledge in helping them, yes, the job is for them to progress and to be better than you. You know what I mean? I feel like that's part of our service, in life, is to help that next generation be better, and not make some of the same mistakes that we make in some moments while we're here.
Well, you've done a lot. So to be better than you, they're going to have to do a lot as well. Look at this. I'm just looking at this. Coached it with South Bronx United from 2011 to 17 with boys U11, 12, 13, and girls U19. You were one of the inaugural coaches for the New York Cosmos Training and Development Program from 2013 to 2016. You have a BA in Broadcasting and Mass Communications. I'll get to that. A master's in sports management from Brooklyn College in 2012. You've done a lot. You're a modest individual. We can hear that and see that by visiting with you today. How have you accomplished all that? What is it about you that I could keep reading this resume for the next 35 minutes that you've accomplished this? What is the key to your success, if I can put you on the spot?
I give thanks every day to Jah. You know what I mean? I think it's about work ethic. There've been doors closed in my face. You know what I mean? There's one time when I volunteered for the New York Red Bulls for like 2 years, showing my work ethic, my drive, my passion, being there, helping out different people. It ultimately didn't work out, but you know, of course, I was devastated in that moment. But that didn't stop me from trying to pursue my goal, my dreams of trying to work in this industry. After that didn't plan on work out, I went to England after getting my master's. I give thanks to my family and friends that allowed me to whether crash on the couch, stay in a room, work over there. And I ultimately did my first level FA coaching license up in Liverpool. And that started like turning, I think, the cogs of the wheel for myself, being more serious on the coaching side and being a little bit more professional. And so after I had to leave the UK, that's when I started with the New York Cosmos, and things just sort of things started transpiring from there. I think into the upward progression for myself. But my grandmother, my father, even the three moms I credit, like they've always told me you have to go for what you believe in. Some doors may close, but you just have to open it, push your way, get your foot in, and then continue to work. I just worked and worked and worked and believed in, and sometimes it was little or nothing I was getting when I started as assistant coach at John Jay, meaning I had to work 2, 3 jobs and be an assistant coach. And before that, you know, working multiple jobs. So I think if you really believe in something and put your time in, you can make it grow. And I think that's what I told the head coach at the time at John Jay, Casey Summers, before she transitioned on to another university. Like, hey, I'm going to give you my time. We're going to work. We're going to build this program, and look at where it's at now. So I think once you put in some hard work, some elbow grease, things like that, you can be successful. But the race is not for the weary, you know, like they say, the marathon continues. So you have to continue to just drive and push for it. So I think that's what drives me. If you love it, you'll push for it to do it.
So before we get to all-star moments, let's talk about, speaking of drive and getting things done and being persistent, you have another facet of your existence at John Jay.
Yeah.
Explain the fact that you are not only the head coach of women's soccer, you're also the manager of athletic communications. That's impressive. Hence, we met at College Sports Communicators. But tell us about your job, your other job at the university.
So thanks to Brian Morales, who's the head SID or assistant athletic director for media, and then Brandon Phelan, who was in that capacity before. But I had opportunity to transition to like do some part-time work at John Jay when I was there as assistant coach, do some PA work, so public address announcing, do some social media graphics for them in the Hall of Fame campaign back in 2019. And that just started off of a whim from me doing a lot of the social media work on our women's soccer page as an assistant coach. And I guess everything just circles back into life of my background of that communications broadcasting from SUNY Oswego. And that I think that led into this position now as to where I'm responsible for working with all the sports teams, whether producing the broadcasts that we stream for our indoor outdoor sports. I work on things from the website, inter-communication things with the school and their communications department. So I have my hand in all those different things.
That's great. A multifaceted day you have, or days, I should say, you have when you go to work every day. I love that. All right. Are you ready for the all-star moments? These are first thought, best thought, quick answers. Are you ready?
Yep, I am a keeper. Let's go.
Oh, now you got to really be. 1, how do you handle adversity?
Just be myself and try to be as positive as I can.
2, how do you give yourself fuel?
Um, giving thanks every day for life and being able to see the sun.
3, never give up. What does that sentence mean to you?
There's a will, there's a way to get it. You just got to get to that bag.
Value of collaboration. How important is it?
You can make the dream work, as they say, with teamwork, but sometimes brilliant minds need to collaborate to make the dream come true. Yeah.
Okay, we alluded to this a little bit this next one, but now I want to really hear this answer because I'm interested. Usually I ask about hiring people, but you're a coach.
Mhm.
What is the profile of the ideal player that works in your system? In other words, attitude-wise, that's what I'm looking for. Attitude only. I don't care about their ability to kick, defend, or be in goal. I want to know the attitude of the player.
I think if a player can show that they have a good mindset, they're open to criticism and feedback, if they show a sense of remorse or compassion towards their teammates or to people in their life and their connection, if they show some genuineness within themselves, I think that's the ideal aspect of a player to me.
Beautiful. Lastly, describe yourself as a leader in one sentence.
A calm, humble individual who has a great passion for everyone to succeed in many moments of what you may call success.
All right. Good job, Ajani. This is a wonderful visit. Thank you.
I want to thank you. Big up, as we say in Jamaica, big up to you, and blessings to you for allowing people to hear thought processes of many people, to continue their leadership growth along their way.
And we thank Ajani very much for being on the show. I have 3 takeaways from this conversation, all related to his coaching style. Number 1, don't overcomplicate things. Keep things simple. Number 2, build real relationships with everyone, not just your teammates. Get to know the coaches, the support staff, everyone associated with women's soccer. Number 3, appreciate the time you have with these people because someday it will be a memory. So impact everyone positively. And we found this to close out this conversation today on the podcast. We found this in regards to Ajani. He said, play for each other, play with love, play with trust, play with courage. You cannot beat that. And we wish them all the luck this season. Take care, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the podcast very much. We appreciate you being part of it each and every week. Recommend it. Fill out a review. We love it and appreciate you. Take care, everybody. Every week, you hear guests on this podcast talk about some of their biggest leadership challenges. As a leader, you want to make an impact on those you lead and reach your organization's goals, while also optimizing your time management. Wherever you are in your leadership journey, we could all use some help. This is what we focus on with our group and individual coaching services. To book a call or get more information, email me directly at chrisg@garganoleadership.com or visit our website at garganoleadership.com. For our podcast and video producer, Jack Radutsky, and our marketing coordinator, Savin Narwhal, have a great week, everybody.